All right, guys, one thing I take very serious as a YouTuber is that my influence can be serious things that other people use in the backcountry, gear they buy, techniques they use, and the way they go about trips. Things I say in these videos are followed along by a lot of other people in the community. Now, some of you might look at my videos and be like, oh, he's trash, you don't know what he's talking about. I understand you. Hey, have a nice day. But some of you do actually care about what I have to say, and I want to say thank you for that. Now, today's video, I've got one serious topic I want to talk about, and it's not a long topic, but it's something I've noticed recently that has become very common, and a lot of people are talking about it, and I don't feel like it's always the best advice. And I've tried to think about how to do this video to make sure that I'm not throwing shade on somebody else, but at the same time making sure you truly understand the risk of what you're doing when you do this. So today's video, guys, we're going to talk about an important topic, and it's about footprints. So footprints are something that have been around on tents for a long time. Older heavy-duty tents, you don't really need one. They've got almost like a tarp heaviness bottom in it. But in today's world, there's a lot of awesome tents out there that are very light. There also comes to a huge downside to those tents. The material they use on those tents is very thin, and it's important to protect that material, especially when you spend premium prices on some of these tents. And making sure that you protect it, because you don't know what you can run into, especially with stumps, rocks, and just things that are hidden in like a pine straw bed or a leaf bed, or in areas where you're just not sitting on flat dirt like the desert, which is an exception to it, but be able to visually check every time. Now, you would look at me and say, well, I always check the ground before I lay my tent. Yes, absolutely, we all try to do that, but sometimes we're doing this in the dark, sometimes we're tired, sometimes we're in a hurry, and sometimes we just want to get it done so we can get it set up and make camp. I'm 100% guilty of this. So it's always important to make sure that we're protecting our tent. And footprints are one of those things that have been around over the last couple of years, or not the last couple of years, for a long time now, that has really found light options like Tyvek and Polycro and stuff like that to be able to take care of the bottom of your tent. I know you got to be thinking, Taylor, what is the point of this video? We're talking about footprints now. You title this advice I'd be careful of. Well, guys, something that I have really noticed recently, and I want you to be cognizant of it, especially if you're investing in some quality tents. I've seen a lot of advice lately saying, oh, you don't need a footprint, and that is one way to save mere ounces out of your pack and save weight and become more ultralight. And yeah, it's just not, you don't need one. They're not really something that's important. Oh, I've been using a tent for years and never tore the bottom of my tent or the bathtub of my tent. That's okay. There's a lot of places where people backpack where there is a lot of pre-set up, I guess, ground areas or campgrounds for your tent. And there's a lot of places like the desert, like I mentioned before, where you can use a tent and visually see the ground and make sure that it's not going to disturb the bottom of your tent. 100% agree with that. Now, I know on the East Coast over here, we have, like you see here, huge pine beds. We have huge leaf beds. And one of the things you can run into is roots, stumps, rocks. And there's areas where there's a lot of rock, period, where you can't notice the jagged edges until you really lay that bathtub on it and you feel how sharp that edge is. Now, I'm not saying that a lot of these denier in some of these bathtubs can handle it. They can't handle it. But I'm saying that you open a lot of opportunity to tearing the bottom of your tent. And I've seen a lot of torn tents in my few years of backpacking now and taking it really serious. And I just want to warn you, yes, you can save weight. But at the same time, if you're spending $700 on a Z-Packs tent, you take the risk of tearing the bottom. I wanted to make this video because I want to say, you know what, this is a good way to save weight, but be careful, okay? I know a lot of the guys out west, I've seen a lot of other influencers that say this, and I know, yeah, I heard you too, Crow. I know that they say, oh, you don't need one, and absolutely, there's a lot of good places out west where even dispersed camping, you can find really good flat spots, and you don't have to really worry about it. I mean, I have done it before. But for the most part, no matter what the situation, I always carry my Tyvek. Even on my 100-mile trip around Wonderland Trail on Mount Rainier, I carry that Tyvek. I never would have not brought it. It was that important to me. So I feel like it's just the most important thing if you want to protect something you've invested a lot of your hard-earned money into, to be considerate when you decide, oh, I don't need a footprint because everybody says they're not useful anymore. Now, if you feel like I'm missing something or I could have added more to this, please leave it in the comments. I want to hear it. But I just feel like this is something I needed to talk about. I know that people care the best for the people, especially in this community. But at the same time, there's some things that can lead you down a bad path, and destroying a nice brand new tent is not one way to do it. And I just wanted to share with my community to be careful with this advice. You still can do it, and if you're going to do it, by all means, that's your thing. I just want to say, hey, watch out. Be careful where you sit your tent down. I know I made this a very serious video about this, but I just wanted to make sure to clarify, footprints are a good thing. They don't take a lot of weight, and they're one of the most important things you probably can carry along to add to your weight if you want to protect your gear. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, just watching out for the community, and we will see you soon.